Hey, welcome back to the garage, everybody. I wanted to give you a update on the motor that I pulled out of the race car. There it sits there. I think we found the culprit. The ring's never seated on this motor, and if you look in there real close, I'm gonna try and shine in there real close. On this side over here, it's actually dark with carbon, and on this side it's shiny. And these rings never seated, and I think I figured out why. You can see on that edge there, hopefully, come on, focus, on that edge. Come on now. And it's a little shiny there, and then it gets, there's like a dark ring around. And some of the rings, this is actually one of the better ones. Some of them were completely carbon from top to bottom. There, that one, you can see it's carbon from top to bottom in that portion of the ring. And then there's, yeah, it's all carboned up. All right, and then there's a little bit of shiny surface there. What happened is the rings carboned up and they never seated, and I think I know why. I usually use either Marvel Mystery Oil on the rings and the piston skirts to lubricate them for initial break-in, or 5W30. And this time I didn't have any of that stuff sitting around, so I had some 2050, so I used 2050. I think that oil was too thick, and it hung on to the rings too long. And from the heat and everything, it actually just cooked the oil, and it just baked right onto the piston ring. And once that layer of carbon was on there, then that was it. It wasn't going to seal. And as is my luck, it's always bad luck, but in the best possible way, pulled the motor apart, and I found this. This is number 4 piston. You can see how bad that wrist pin is. It's shot. The wrist pin actually galled it into the piston. I had to use a hammer and a drift to pound that out. And if you look down here where my thumb is, you can see the oil actually caked. The piston got so hot, the oil actually caked onto the piston. And so that was seized. The rod is shot. I don't have it setting around here, but the top of the rod is all blued from overheating, and it's shot. I'll have to throw it away. It's basically a paperweight now, as is this. I'm gonna have to try and find another piston, and good luck with that. I don't know what I'm gonna do there. Have to call and see if I can get another one made like that. Probably gonna be kind of expensive. This is probably just a paperweight or the other three. Maybe if I get some extra funds, we can throw something together. But for right now, this is a rather expensive paperweight. So found that, and probably another race or two, and the motor would have come apart. The top of the rod is so blued, it was probably glowing red at one point, and I don't. To be honest, I have no idea what kept it together. The other thing I found is and with the head bolts, for some reason these three, this one, and this one, all the head bolts were so loose that I could have taken a 3/8 ratchet with one hand and just kind of pulled it and knocked them loose. Now, traditionally with these motors, you have to use a breaker bar and really, kind of pull hard, and you get a real loud crack. And after about 2 turns, then you can pull them out with your fingers. You can rotate them out. For some reason, and all the other ones were like that except for these 3. So I'm thinking maybe the head bolts are shot. These are original GM head bolts. They're about 20 years old. They were tightened originally from the factory, and I think this is the 3rd motor that they were actually put in, and they're getting kind of old. And with this is the 2.3, and I know with the 2.4 motors, you have to replace the head bolts every single time. I've never really heard that with the 2.3. I know some people that do and advocate that, and that's fine. I've never had any trouble with that until now. So these are going to be going into garbage, and we're probably going to go with a new set of ARP bolts, or just go ahead and step up to studs. Just put some head studs in it and be done with it. And then you can just tighten them and loosen them, and to your heart's content. But that's the other thing that I found. So I would imagine probably in the center 2 cylinders right in between here. It probably would have blown the head gasket eventually with this being loose. So always have the best luck, or the worst luck, but in the best possible way. So if you found this interesting, go ahead and leave a like down below. And if you're not a subscriber, I would invite you to subscribe. I appreciate you guys watching. If you have any helpful tips on how I can make the videos any better, go ahead and leave that below. And I'm looking forward to seeing you in the next video.